What's going on, my fellow Jedi and Padawans? Welcome back to another Jedi gaming video. Thank you guys so much for coming back to the channel, and if you guys are new, welcome. Today we're gonna do a nice little god rule guide for y'all for the Insurmountable, which is a Void Sidearm that came out with episode Revenant here. Now, using this thing felt very good, PvE, PvP for sure, but we're gonna go over this origin trait. So with that Dark Ether Reaper final, blows periodically spawn those Dark Ether charges. Charges can be detonated early by firing the weapon or coming into contact with them. Doing so refills the reserves. So both with this gun, at least, I think it's good in PvE as well as the PvP side of things. So not a bad origin trait, definitely depending on the weapon that you're using and the content you're going into. So for both PvP as well as PvE, I do like this as what we're gonna go with as our weapon mod. You do have to enhance it at least though, so you can have this as one of your mod options, this or crafted weapons, but we don't have it as a crafted weapon this season. Now for barrel, we're gonna go with small bore along with the masterwork of range because this thing feels pretty stable, but it needs a little bit of range on it, especially if you're going into the PvP realm. Having that little bit of extra range is super nice, but in PvE as well, feels good having small bore. Now we got two options for the magazine here for PvE. Tactical mag is the first, +1 for magazine, +10 to reload, +5 for stability. Helps out with having 31 in that reload category. Did feel a little bit slow in that aspect, but having all of these shots that we're gonna have with 12 in there does feel pretty nice. Your other option is appended mag, and we lose that reload as well as the stability and only get one extra shot. So not the most ideal perk in this column, but it is a very, very good option and close second to tactical. Now, third column, we got three different options in my personal opinion. Repulsor brace is a very good one for that debuff, granting you a good little bit of that overshield, so pairs well with the Void prismatic subclasses. Next off, we got threat detector right here. Increase reload stability handling when enemies are in close proximity. Very good for both PvE as well as PvP. So going to be throwing this on there as our list for the third column, but I do think repulsor probably a little bit more fun in my personal opinion, especially since I'm going to be using this way more for the ad clear side of it than for the actual damage side of it. Demolitionist is our last option right here. Also a good PvE perk. Kills with this weapon generate grenade energy. Activating our grenade reloads this weapon from our reserves, so you can do a little bit more damage with this. Throw a grenade to do some more damage, so I would use demo for your damage side rotation, but I like repulsor price probably as my number one. Demo is my number two. Now, same concept over here in the fourth column. We got a couple different options. Destabilizing first pairs with that repulsor. Perfect because all those defeats, we're going to get volatility. So getting those defeats is going to give us some overshield as well. Little combo of both is disgusting. Probably my 1 out of 1 roll for this, or 5 out of 5, whatever you want to call it, for this weapon for PvE. Desperate Measures is our second option, good for a little bit of a damage increase for sure. Final blows with this weapon or melee grenade can stack that as well, but we are going to get a good little damage bonus for this. Feels very, very good for the PvE realm, especially if you're pairing it with something like that demo. One for All, very good option as well for getting that damage increase. Hitting 3 separate targets gives us 35% damage increase, so definitely one of the best damage perks inside of this game for sure, especially on something like a sidearm. We're going to be using it for that ad clear, like I said, so hitting 3 separate targets, very easy to get procced. Last option for the PvE realm would say is the Surrounded perk right here. Pairs very good with threat detector, obviously, because when those enemies are in close proximity, you're going to get a damage buff as well, so a little bit of a juice magoose for the damage as well, but you do have to have close proximity enemies, so that might be hard to get procced sometimes. That's why I like having demo or having repulsor brace a little bit higher in that third column, with probably destabilizing rounds or that One for All as my best two options in the fourth column. Would give this thing probably a good 4.3, maybe 4.4 out of 5 for PvE realm. Can do some pretty good little bit of damage with that rotation of One for All when it's procced at 35%. With that demo, you can throw your grenade, get refill, XYZ, so it's a very, very good little damage rotation on it, but we do have some pretty good rolls for the PvP realm as well that we'll cover in a second. So for PvP, same concept, range masterwork with that ballistics weapon mod on it, giving us +6 to range and stability, and then with small bore here, giving us +7 to range and stability. That's +13 total for both of those stats. So building it out for that in the Crucible feels very, very good. With this, we have about 70 in the range, so you're dapping up Guardians from pretty far away with this thing. When we move on to our magazine, we're going with accurized rounds, giving us that +10 to range, which bumps us up all the way up to 83 with this. So a very crazy combination of 83 in range with 56 in stability. Has a pretty good recoil pattern on it as a precision frame. With accurized, giving it 83 in range, you are doing some pretty good damage at a pretty good distance for a sidearm. Now, third column, we got Lone Wolf, a new perk right here in this episode. Slightly improved aim assist, aim down sight, as well as airborne effectiveness. Increase these effects when there's no nearby allies. So if you're doing the flanking of your group, XYZ, you can do a good little bit of extra damage on them with that AoE, with surprising them with that aim assist, ADS, airborne effectiveness. So a very good little perk to have on for the PvP realm. 2 Pain is another good option while this is equipped. Taking damage improves handling, aim assist, very good to switch on and off of this. I was using it with a sniper, felt very good with that, so having increased handling is always good. Plus doing that little bit of extra damage, you're always taking it inside of the Crucible, getting 2 Pain to proc all the time. Last but not least, definitely like Hunters, Warlocks, something like that. Air Trigger, not a bad option because we get airborne accuracy as well as reload as is increased, plus target acquisition. We do lose a little bit of that, but air load accuracy, if you're jumping up and down with that airborneness or floating around with a Warlock, Air Trigger might be a good option. But for me, personally, I think Lone Wolf is what I'm going to be going for the most, with 2 Pain as my second option. Now, fourth column, we got Desperate Measures again, so we can get that damage bonus when we get kills with the weapon, or melee and grenade can stack it even larger. So very good little damage perk, especially for something like 6s, running through kids and just getting those kill streaks to keep on adding up. Closing time, another new trait this episode is a improved range accuracy handling as the magazine gets slower. So nice little thing to throw onto this. We can get a good boost in range, stacking it up to almost 100, if not a little bit more, depending on that community resource that you see down there. So a very, very good perk. I like the Lone Wolf with closing time, probably my 5 out of 5 that I would go with for this god roll, but we do got one more perk. Last is Harmony Findables with other weapons improves this damage and performance for a short period of time. So since I was using it with something like a sniper, we were getting those defeats. We get 20% increase in damage and handling for 7 seconds. Not a terrible combination. Like I said, having high handling is a very good thing with switching on and off of those snipers, and that little 20% damage does help a lot with an 83 in a sidearm. So this thing was slapping pretty good. I was liking it a lot. Would give it probably about the same in the PvP realm as PvE, maybe a little bit less. I would say like a 4.2, 4.3, but still a very, very good weapon from this season. Do like the origin trait in both PvE, PvP, so y'all will have to let me know what you guys think of this weapon. But again, appreciate all you guys for coming back to the channel. Means a lot to me. Helps liking and subscribing, hitting that bell so you don't miss out on any content here on the channel. Builds, god roll guides, stuff like that. Plus, hopefully we get into that alpha for Destiny Rising, but we will see. But again, appreciate all you guys as always for coming back to the channel. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.